Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Mark Schaffner. Good morning and welcome, everybody.
This is the EV portion of our weekly podcasts, and the theme today is we're confused what all this hullabaloo about Tesla is about and Elon. So that's the basis for this background.
Yeah, it seems to be growing and getting bigger over time, and not going away.
And we're using AI to generate the image. It did a pretty good job showing some expressions on faces, but boy, the spelling and the signs. The best one is probably the one by my head. It's spelled correctly and it makes sense.
Yeah, Elon must go. The stop must Tesla in the background with the backwards S is not quite as good.
What we did find, though, is that the new Chat GPT version now has an image generating function. So we're not using DALL-E anymore. We're using that, and that one actually learned to spell.
Yes.
Anything that you tell it, I want to see this in the background, it does a pretty good job. You'll see that later on at 11 o'clock with our Tesla Roadster podcast. They put a sign up in back, Gruber Motor Company. Nothing misspelled. Everything was perfect.
And, I have to give kudos to the AI, though, for the people generation. Those are very realistic-looking people.
They are, yeah. And again, in the Roadster podcast, you're going to see an image of Elon, which is surprising because it typically distorts it or it won't let you post. So,
yeah.
The first item that I have here for everyone is a few days ago, it turns out a Cybertruck was involved in a collision. And the post went something like this. A few days ago, our Cybertruck saved my life and the life of my 5-year-old daughter. We were T-boned by a drunk driver who ran a red light going 60 miles an hour. Can you imagine that?
That's hard to imagine. There's so much energy at something like that, and it's not like the drunk driver was going to slow down and stop.
Right. Yep. The police, they say, on the scene told us that if we had been in any other vehicle, the car would have flipped and been torn in half. He says, I'll be buying a new Cyber Beast this week. If you love your family, buy a Tesla.
You know, on a very serious note, these trucks are proving to not only look kind of like a tank, but really be built like a tank.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've ever seen an automobile-style vehicle, whether it's a small light pickup truck or car, that's ever been built with this kind of durability. I mean, think about it. We got the Las Vegas explosion that any other vehicle, any other car, any other truck would have blown up.
Right.
This car held together and forced the explosion up. Who knows how many lives they ended up saving simply because of the Cybertruck. You remember a year ago, and if the guys can pull up this picture, we have one, a Dodge Ram rear-ended a Cybertruck on the road, and it was... the Ram was totaled.
Yeah, you were talking about that before the show.
Yeah, and the Cybertruck, honestly, it looked like you could take a terry cloth towel to the back of the Cybertruck and just wipe off the residual of what the Ram left behind.
Right.
Pete, can you pull up that image? You should be good now.
All right.
The bottom right of your screen.
Yeah. Actually, there we go. Okay, I'm going to bring it over and hang tight here. There we go. All right.
And I mean, these Cybertrucks are just amazing in the way that they're the frame was built and how strong those trucks are.
And the whole notion of structure in an EV, you have such a incredibly low center of gravity.
Yeah.
In the case of the Cybertruck, there's 1,000 pounds plus of battery that takes up the first section above 12 inches or so down low. And something hitting that is not going to crumple that very easily.
No, it's not. And I mean, think about it. A Cybertruck as a vehicle has the same center of gravity probably as something such as a Corvette or some other larger sports car, but that sits really low, and yet the Cybertruck is sitting really high.
Right. I'm going to bring up that image of that post that I was telling you about, the father and daughter that actually walked away from this T-bone experience at 60 miles an hour at an intersection. Yeah. I wish I had better pictures, but that's all I have for you this morning. But I'm sure that if you Google it, you'll be able to get more information. So now, staying with the theme of Tesla and Elon, there is a article in Yahoo News. 2/3 of Americans now say that they wouldn't drive a Tesla, and most of them cite Elon Musk as the reason why, according to this new poll. This is the Yahoo News U.gov survey. It shows that the tech billionaire's popularity has plummeted since he launched the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Elon Musk, of course, is waging war on the federal bureaucracy. And as head of President Trump's Department of DOGE, he's canceling contracts, they're terminating leases, they're firing civil servants, and they're blocking payments and dismantling America's top foreign aid agency. Voice of America is another one that shut down. It was on 60 Minutes this weekend, and a lot of complaints. It's been around since World War II.
You know, the complaints, I'll try not to get too political here.
All right, appreciate it.
The complaints seem to center around two basic, flawed, logical arguments. Complaint number one is, but we've always done it that way before.
Yeah.
We've always been doing this.
Right, but that is a strong argument.
That's argument number one. Voice of America is exhibit one of that. The other complaint is you don't know what kind of long-term impacts this is going to cause. Right, but we don't know what kind of positive long-term impacts doing this is also going to cause.
Right.
And it may be that the savings are far better than the return that you're getting because you can't justify any return.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so far the arguments that are being used by the people who are fighting to keep agencies open or Voice of America open or stuff like that are all presenting arguments that are largely just ineffective because those are the nature and tenor of the argument being presented, and it's quite a wild ride.
It is. And, as they point out in this article, Musk's cost-cutting activities, his team's cost-cutting activities, to put this in perspective, have done little to endear him or his electric cars to the public. Now we're politicizing electric vehicles or cars.
Yeah, different politicizing this time.
Right. They say according to this article now, a full 2/3 of Americans, 67%, now say that they would not consider buying or leasing a Tesla. And most of those Americans, 56%, cite Musk himself as the whole reason or part of the reason why. He was, before the election, I think he was one of the more popular guys on this planet, if you think about it.
I think so.
People revered him as a visionary, as a role model, many things between SpaceX and Tesla and stationary power and ushering in humanoid robots. He became very influential, and things seemed to flip once he got a bit political.
Definitely did. I mean, his goals of Tesla to drive toward a sustainable future seemed to dovetail very cleanly and nicely with the progressive left's ideals. And then he goes and spends $250 million of his fortune to help a far right-wing person, that's what the liberals call him anyway, in President Trump to get reelected. And much of the left of center political spectrum, the people in that area, have felt terribly betrayed.
Yeah. Of course, the elephant in the room is $500 billion has been retrieved and recovered at this point, or at least the hemorrhage has been stopped.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know why that isn't perceived as something that the taxpayers would find beneficial. We have a social security system for anyone that's aging that has the threat of being run like a Ponzi scheme. And when you find out the amount of fraud, negligence, and just incompetence in the payouts in that system, you would think that the whole geriatric groups in the United States would be ecstatic about finally, discovering what's wrong. Why is it looking like a Ponzi scheme?
Yes. And the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that is being spread by people who are afraid that they're going to lose their government money, the something for nothing is what a lot of it is I think driving an awful lot of this. And you have a second level of people that know all the people that are at risk of losing something for nothing, and they end up getting angry because their friends are angry. It's really remarkable to see. I went to a restaurant this weekend with my family, and we're pulling out
In your Tesla Model
in my
S.
Tesla Model S. As we're pulling out of the parking lot, the two people that are walking up toward the entrance look at us, and one of them flips us off. I was stunned. Thankfully, my wife did not see it. And I did not mention anything either, because she doesn't need to be part of that hatred.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with either of us.
It's unjustified. It's misdirected. And, fortunately, my family and I, we all drive Teslas as well, Roadsters, Model S's. We haven't seen any of that. And it's almost like I keep seeing it in the news, and it seems abstract, unreal. It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I think your experience drives it home.
Yeah, it was a little unsettling to see the simple fact that I'm driving a certain model of car is causing somebody to express open hatred toward me.
Right. And the sad part about that is most of the people, the early adopters at least, that took a chance with Tesla or EVs in general, generally had an interest in preserving the planet and helping heal the planet and reducing emissions and thinking about our grandchildren and their children and the future that we're leaving for our future generation. For our future generations. And these cars are not less expensive than ICE vehicles. Many of us bit the bullet and bought something that was even more costly because of that commitment to the environment.
Yeah, it's a commitment of, hey, I'm going to spend dollars, I'm going to spend resources, and I'm going to spend the inconvenience of no charging stations or figuring out how to install electrical charging at home or all of that stuff. And there's no question, for the early adopters, there has been a level of inconvenience that you've had to live through. That level of inconvenience is largely gone now because the charging stations are out there. They're getting to be more and more models of cars, so on and so forth. But for the people who have been in the electric vehicle scene for a long time, they're just glad that right now, they're just glad that it's getting momentum and moving.
Yeah. So the other concern with having Elon Musk involved in the government in the United States is that he is influencing the president of the United States. And that appears to be troubling to a lot of people. They feel that he has too much influence. There were 39% of the people polled, at least in this poll, voiced that opinion. And then finally, the majority of Americans, they say, 52%, believe that Musk is mostly trying to help himself. Just 36% that Musk is mostly trying to help the country. Well, putting that back in perspective, I don't think he's drawing a paycheck with the federal government. He's doing this for free. It's voluntary. And then some of the other people involved, like the rocket scientist, for example, that was interviewed on 60 Minutes, I think, a week or two ago, they took huge pay cuts, again, with an altruistic view that they wanted to help clean up the government in the United States.
Yeah.
So misdirected, it seems, but that's what that image behind us is all about. And we tried not to get too political in this, but it looks like we've got some people chiming in now on YouTube. Uncle Mark's Do-It-Yourself Automotive Fix-It channel says, "Hi from Manitoba, Canada, the home of the In Ontario Grand Caravan and many Ford engines. Not cool that people are picking on Tesla owners."
Well, thank you, Uncle Mark.
You summarized that perfectly, I think. So we've got an image here I'm going to pop up for you. This is a Xiaomi brand, and that's how you pronounce Xiaomi. I had to look that up in a previous podcast where we found out that the CEO of Ford actually drives one of these vehicles, and he won't go back to a Ford. He loves it. Jim Farley, yeah. But the way this article reads is, they aim to sell a staggering 350,000 electric vehicles this year, a figure that would surpass the combined sales of major German auto manufacturers such as Volkswagen, Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche, according to this report in Car Advisors. Now, I found this somewhat humorous because the headline even says, they plan to outsell all German brands.
Yes.
Well, I've got a lot of kids and grandkids, and one of my grandkids always tells the family what he plans to do. And everybody's always in awe and amazed. And I took him aside one day and I said, look, no one cares what you plan to do. Anyone that really cares is watching what you do.
Right.
So your intention fall on deaf ears with me. The rest of the family may be enthralled and amazed, but it ain't going to work with me. So that's what this headline reminded me of. They're planning on outselling. They haven't done it yet, so let's see what they can actually do.
And to your point, I had to read past the title of the article. I had to go find, okay, they plan. Why can they plan this? Why are they announcing this? Originally, at the beginning of 2024, Xiaomi planned on or has set a corporate goal of selling 300,000 cars in 2025. They delivered of this vehicle, the SU7, over 135,000 of them in 2024, and it far surpassed any of their expectations.
It is a beautiful car, too.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful car. It's got great performance, and it's the one that Jim Farley drove and said he won't go back to a Ford. And they are running at capacity on their production.
Really?
Which is, to me, this is a first. Usually you've got your EV factories that are really big production capacity, but not really big actual production.
Lucid comes to mind.
Lucid comes to mind. Rivian comes to mind a little bit as well. They've got a lot more production capacity than they have actual production. Xiaomi has the opposite problem. They are running at capacity. They're running 3 shifts, 7 days a week. They're all out. So they're going to finish the second phase of their production facility, their manufacturing facility in Beijing this year. They've got a new model, a compact/crossover SUV that's going to compete directly with the Model Y. It's being rolled out. It's been introduced to the market. It's going to be for sale this summer. And they have a number of hits on their hands. They also have somewhere between 10 and 15 different models of cars that they sell. It leads me to believe that these guys might be able to walk the walk that they're talking about, which frankly is impressive. They're actually telling the world that they've got a great car and that they can't get enough. People can't get enough of them.
You know, while we're on the topic of Chinese brands, here's another interesting article we collected over the week. Chinese electric vehicle brands overtake Tesla in Europe's February sales. These are usually clickbaity type headlines, right?
Yes.
So it says, in February, Chinese-owned car brands registered 19,800 new EVs in Europe, outpacing Tesla, which registered just 15,700 units. In the same month last year, the former registered 23,182 units compared to the 28,000 registered by Tesla. So you were going to unpack that a bit.
I do. I want to unpack that one a little bit too. There's a lot to this. The biggest thing to unpack from this is that the overall EV market is continuing to go gangbusters in Europe. For the continent, so for all the European nations, EV sales so far in 2025 are up 26% over 2024.
Yeah, we knew they would.
The best-selling Chinese brands I can see the first one totally. It's Volvo.
Okay.
People forget Volvo is, although they're manufactured still in Switzerland, I believe. It's either Sweden. I believe it's
Sweden,
Sweden.
I think.
Maybe Sweden. Although the actual factories are in Sweden, it's owned by Geely Automotive,
Oh, that's true.
which is Chinese.
Yeah. Okay.
Along with Polestar. Polestar is a sister brand of Volvo. And those two and BYD are the three most popular cars being sold in Europe as well. Now, Tesla sales have fallen. Obviously, you just mentioned 28,000 to 15,000. It's their lowest level in 5 years. But the market itself overall is incredibly healthy still. And
booming.
and absolutely booming. There were 164,000 new EV registrations in Europe in the month of February.
We've got YouTube. Ryan Schilling is joining us. Welcome, Ryan. He says, lots of pro-Elon support at our local Tesla store in Knoxville, Tennessee this past Saturday.
Thank you.
Good
Glad
to
to hear that.
Yeah.
On YouTube, Easy EV says, on the flip side, a group of middle school boys were all cheering the car as I drove by. I even recorded it, so it seems the unbiased still like Tesla. I apologize for the total evidence.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah.
I have some ones on TikTok that are kind of hard for me to pull out in this current setup that I have here, but I'll just read them.
Sure.
It's from Moist Cake, is someone who seems to be on the opposite side, supporting the protesting. I don't know. I wouldn't say. I guess just protesting Tesla, so to speak.
Right.
And they're saying that a couple of quotes. They say, it's almost like nobody wants EVs here. One of the ones that I saw that was interesting was, I've been following Gruber since day one, and I can't believe you guys are picking sides. It seems like, Moist Cake, if you want to give us more detail on why people, or why you or other people are against Tesla, let us know so we can get that opposite opinion. Pete, what do you think about that statement, though? Why are we picking sides?
Well, for me, it's confusion. I don't understand the opposing position. I'm still trying to sort out, what is Elon doing wrong? Why this? Why is this large group of haters coming out of left field? And like you said, it may be politically polarized, and people need an excuse. But please show me what cleaning up fraud, corruption, and waste has any negative impact on a country or a company. In our company, if we had what these guys are finding, we would be tickled pink, because we would be, able to retain earnings. We would be able to use that for raises, hiring employees, better equipment, all of that.
Right.
The waste just seems like a very, unpopular element in a country or in a company. So I'm not sure what the upset is all about.
And for my part, I'm pro EV. And I'd like to just leave it at that. I'm pro EV. The electrified powertrain is simply a method of propulsion. It is environmentally, overall, much cleaner than the fossil fuel method of propulsion. It's much more efficient than the fossil fuel method of propulsion.
Far less damaging to the environment, to our health, to our future generations' health, and potentially beginning to reverse the trend on what's happening with the planet, with global warming, and all of the impact we're seeing from that.
Yeah. So far, what I've seen in terms of observation of what Elon Musk is trying to do in the government and what Donald Trump is trying to do in the government, is and the reaction that's occurring outside of what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are doing. What I'm noticing is you've got Elon Musk and Donald Trump trying to make wholesale changes to the way the federal government functions. And you've got lined up against them people who were traditionally allies of Elon Musk who feel betrayed, in my opinion, and people on the progressive left of the political spectrum who feel outraged that somebody is trying to dismantle what goes on in our government. Now, I get it, in that much of the political left in America today believes that the best method for people to get the help that they need is for the government to administer services.
Good point.
And Elon Musk and Donald Trump are going through the process of dismantling much of that infrastructure. FEMA has been put on the chopping block. USAID, the foreign aid agency, has been put on the chopping block and largely shut down. The Department of Education is largely in the process of being wound down and shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Health and Human Services, another service agency that they're trying to just completely get rid of and shut down. These are the very agencies that those who are left of center on the political spectrum are saying are the most efficient and most important ways for us as humans to get the services and things that.
Sure.
I'm not going to say whether I agree with it. That goes a little too far into the politics. But what I will continue and will reiterate again is that so far the arguments that have been advanced against Donald Trump and Elon Musk have tended toward the we've done it this way before, or you just can't do that type of arguments. They're not coherent, logical arguments at all. And as such, most of the arguments that have gone in many cases to court against Elon Musk and Donald Trump have failed because they have no good legal basis or logical standing.
Yeah, good point. You mentioned a phrase the other day, or this morning actually, tax and spend.
Yes.
So I'm not sure that people understand the correlation between inflation and spending. When you print money frivolously, it devalues everyone's bank account and prices go up.
Well, you like to use the big screen TV example. A big screen TV costs $1,000, and your manufacturer can make 1,000 big screen TVs. Your marketplace has 10,000 people. So if 10% of those 10,000 people can afford a big screen TV, you have parity in your market because 10% of the people can afford $1,000. So what happens if suddenly everybody gets $1,000 check and half of those somebodies decide, I want a big screen TV now?
Mm-hmm.
The manufacturer doesn't have enough big screen TVs, so they have to pay a premium price for overtime labor to build their big screen TVs. And they're going to raise their prices because there's more demand in the market. The next thing you know, now you have a $2,000 or $2,500 big screen TV. That inflation.
Okay. Thank you for summarizing that, Mark. It looks like we've got more people coming in. TikTok, Ada System says, they hate the person, not the brand. TikTok, yeah, Moist Cake. Obviously, we are all pro-EV. We are anti-Tesla. This isn't about a political divide in America. It's a global issue with America.
Okay, very interesting comment.
Mm-hmm. And then YouTube, TJ says, best Elon stay behind the scenes. I thought Vivek Ramaswamy was a co-partner with Elon on Doge. Put Vivek up front as he is a politician and put Elon way behind in the scenes.
You know, that's actually good advice.
Not
Unfortunately, I think Vivek saw what was going to be happening.
Right.
And he exited stage left after about 3 days.
He didn't want to destroy his future political career.
I think that the way things have gone down, you have to wonder about that.
Yeah. But, you know, it gets back to Elon's personality. Elon flat out doesn't care. If he has an altruistic mission, that is the most important to him. If he has a mission about making electric cars and saving the planet, that is his mission. He's often said, I don't care about money. One of the things that frustrates the politicians so badly in Washington is Elon can't be bought. Lobbyists have nothing to say to Elon.
Well, that's one of the existential threats that's going on with this Department of Government Efficiency. You've got somebody who wasn't elected and who was simply appointed by the president and is volunteering as an extra governmental person. So he has none of the oversight that would normally come with the strings attached that come with government. He has the ear of the president, and he's doing what the president wants.
Yeah.
So the most powerful man in the government, the one who leads the executive branch, is saying, "Go do this," and he's doing it, and he doesn't care what anyone thinks. And how do you stop that? The people are finding out it's very hard to do.
Yeah. YouTube Spoonie412 says, on the bright and sunny dude of emotions, I hear it is possible to charge an EV with a tree. Also distributed laser charging, DLC.
We're going to have to find out more about that.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
So want to show you another image here. And this one is, let's see here. This is China 12 years ago and today. You know, we personally, I always felt that China was like India. They were backwards. You know, it's going to take them decades to, come into relevance in the economic landscape. And I don't know about you guys, but I am as amazed as can be about what China has been able to do, despite having a government that we consider inferior in many ways. Remember Soviet Russia and the communist, gamble that didn't pan out? Well, look at communist China. In 12 years, this is their high-speed rail network. And if you've noticed, they are building construction projects that are setting records. I think the longest or tallest bridges now under completion, and it's just amazing what they've been able to do. And now we've got EVs. They are completely committed to helping convert this planet and getting rid of fossil fuel burners.
Yeah. Now, for those of you that have a hard time reading the little small print on the legend, the blue is lines that are capable of 300 miles an hour plus, kilometers an hour plus. Green are the lines that are newly built that are capable of at least 200 to 299 kilometers per hour. And then all the red are lines that are capable of other sources of high-speed service, although not quite that much. Everything on the map has been built.
Really?
That's the part that amazes me more than anything else.
In 12 years?
That's all in 12 years.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. Have another image here to pop up. This one is a bit humorous. It's inconsistent with what we expect from an EV or Tesla. This is, of course, a standard oil filter. It's got a Tesla logo on it.
Yes.
You might say, why? Well, this is a real Tesla oil filter. It's the Model 3 and Y that use a filter for the drive unit, lubricant oil, and it needs to be changed as part of the maintenance schedule. So we're going to have oil changes for Teslas now.
I want to see that oil filter and whether or not it will fit any ICE vehicles.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
That would be just fun to take your car into Jiffy Lube for an oil change and have them take a Tesla oil filter out of the engine.
With your Dodge Challenger, and they're going, what the heck?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great. Another image here for you, and this one speaks to the theme of this podcast, which ended up being a bit more political than we usually participate in. But this image is currently breaking news in Rome, Italy. And we have no additional details yet. It just came across the wire this morning. But apparently there are 17 Teslas destroyed by fire. Cause unknown. Well, the suspicion is that it was arson. Happened at 4 o'clock Mountain Standard Time this morning. And again, we'll have a lot more details about what went on here. But
I have very little that I can add to. I found a comment from Elon Musk. He's calling it terrorism. Italian authorities, as of an hour ago, are still investigating this as possible arson. They are not saying that it. They are saying that's probably not naturally caused.
Right. YouTube R.C. Robinson's son is joining us. He says, just wait until the Chinese show up on the shores of the United States. Tesla hate will end overnight. Upvoted, yes.
Thank you for the upvote. I think there is a lot to that.
Yeah. We'll have a new adversary to be concerned about.
Yeah, it's In fact, if we want to transition, I've got one thing I wanted to mention, especially, we've had the news cycle that's been persistently anti-Tesla. We've talked a lot about that today. We're talking about the Chinese cars taking in much bigger market share in Europe. We've seen Tesla tanking here in the United States. I've shared my own personal experience. For people who want an EV but don't want a Tesla, where are they going? Lucid CEO Mark Winterhoff says they're coming to us.
Ah, there you go.
Lucid says they've seen a dramatic uptick, as he's told Fox Business, in orders over the last 2 months from former Tesla drivers. Winterhoff continued and says Tesla buyers have always been a source of our sales because they were already used to using electrical drive trains, and they look for an opportunity to have something else, something better, he says, of course. And now we see a clear uptick in interest in Lucid from Tesla buyers because they're looking for another option. Regarding the Gravity, he states, Americans want to have an SUV. That is the quintessential American car. It's the size of a pickup truck and a much larger addressable market for us. Therefore, it's much larger demand. I even checked on Reddit to see kind of what people are talking about.
Yeah.
One guy asked, I like my Model Y, my Model 3, but I'm looking to see what other alternatives are out there. One person received this response, and I'm just going to quote it here because I thought it was so good. It says, Rivian is the most like Tesla in terms of software and EV experience. But of course, they only have large vehicles, a large truck and a full-size SUV. They are very nice, however. Lucid Air is the most analogous to the Model S, four-door sedan, luxury, and it's superior to the other EVs by a wide margin. Porsche Taycan is also very good, but it has more compromises. As for the Model 3/Y, the Hyundai Ioniq 6, Ioniq 5, the BMW i4, the Kia EV6, and the Mustang Mach-E are all reasonable alternatives. So people are out there looking at what kind of brands and stuff are out there.
Right.
And I thought it was notable that he said the Lucid is the best by a wide margin.
Yeah. If you think about it from a comparison standpoint, it's the most closely linked to the Model S.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
So I was scrolling on Instagram the other day, and an ad popped up for Lucid that says you have a choice. So they're actively, they're actively trying to jump on this opportunity to try to sell more cars.
Absolutely.
Brilliant marketing move. Instagram Never Enough Cars says, I drove a Chinese EV when I lived in Shanghai. The build quality was great. Open the free market.
I have to agree there. If the U.S. automakers really want to thrive, they need to be willing to take on the fiercest competition. And right now, I think that would be China. Yeah.
Well, it looks like we're coming to the close of our podcast. Join us at 11 o'clock today in about 23 minutes when we switch over to the Tesla Roadster podcast, which we do bi-weekly now, roughly. One time. Yeah. We'll go 3 weeks at times, but we've got some interesting things to share with you. Why Roadster annuals are important, how to get rid of some annoying, pesky messages, alerts, and just general news. Valuation news is an interesting one in this podcast as well.
Definitely.
Are we on an uptick with Tesla Roadsters? So I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Mark Schaffner. Have a wonderful day.